Welcome to the Scaleup Valley podcast, where we bring the best of the best to help you scale your business from 1 million to 1 trillion. Today's guest is a very special one. His name is Deepak Chadha, the managing director at Wurth Electronics India. Deepak, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mike, for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you.
My pleasure, and thanks for to assure that I don't forget also to Rob Sperring, and that kindly introduced Deepak to the show to share his amazing story and his amazing lessons with the community. And we also had a peer of Deepak in Australia, Ruth Poon, joining previous podcast episodes. So if you'd like to learn more about them, search on Spotify or SoundCloud or Apple Podcasts, Rob Sperring, Ruth Poon, Wurth, and you will get into their episodes. But today it's about Deepak, and I can't wait to compress all the lessons that you can share with the community. So let's start by getting to know more about yourself. So who is Deepak?
Thank you, Mike. So, my Deepak Chadha is my name is Deepak. I work for Wurth Electronics, and I'm the managing director for Wurth Electronics ISOS India. So Wurth, I was born and brought up in India. I moved to UK when I was 21, and I stayed there for 14 years of my life. I from 21 till about 35. So I. From my side, I was always very, very good in maths. I got full marks in my GCSEs, in my 10th and in my 12th as well in maths, and and then I ended up doing electronics engineering, and I went to UK to do my masters in electronics engineering. So I started my first professional career with Arrow Electronics as an internal applications engineer based out of Harlow in Essex in UK. I worked there for 2 years, and then I moved to work for RS Components. So RS Components is a catalog distributor. It's a FTSE 250 company. And I was there. I started as a territory sales manager, moved on to become a key account manager, then moved on to become an OEM sales manager. From 2007 till about 2010, I was there. And then I met Rob actually in 2007 when I was leaving Arrow Electronics, and but for some reason I was not working for him then. But it was in 2010 when I started my journey in Wurth Electronics, and I joined as a new customer hunter, as a regional business manager for looking after the territory in Essex for Wurth Electronics, and then after a year I was promoted as a sales area manager. Then I became the key account manager in UK, and I was the first key account manager to take care of the offshore customers in UK. And then I became a district sales manager for the business unit of ICANN in UK. And it was not until in 2015 when in 2014 the discussion started when Rob asked me if I could go and move to India with my family. And in 2015 I moved to India as a sales manager in India, and things went very well until 2018 when I was appointed as the general manager, managing director for India as well. So and I'm very happy with the decisions which we have made so far. So, thank you. Thanks to Rob for giving me this opportunity, I must say as well. Yeah.
That's a great story, and Rob was really enthusiastic about having you on the show, given the amazing job that you have done, in his opinion, and I'm sure in our opinion as well. And in that sense, just for the ones who were not able to listen the previous episodes with Rob and Ruth, can you just give an overview about what your particular company or subsidiary of the group does, so people get a little bit more of context? So just a small presentation on the company side.
Yeah, sure. So Wurth Electronics, we are a part of the Wurth Group. Wurth Electronics Wurth Group has about 400 companies in 92 different countries. So Professor Wurth is a private run business. He was 19 when his father passed away, and he took over the father's business, and he started selling nuts and bolts and fixtures and fasteners, basically literally in his wheelbarrow. And since then the company has done extremely well. to where it is now. Wurth Group turns over about 14.2 billion US euros with 80,000 employees worldwide. So Professor Wurth, he has his catering company, he has his own airport. He started an electronics company in 1984 when he started selling, he ventured into the electronics market segment as well. And Wurth Electronics ISOS was started in 1997 with 7 employees. So it was not until 2001 when Wurth Electronics ISOS as a subsidiary was registered. And since then, Wurth Electronics ISOS now turns over 600 million euros with about 6,000 employees, and is the second most profit generating company for the Wurth Group. So Wurth Electronics manufactures passive components. They make inductors, ferrite beads, capacitors, LEDs, crystals, oscillators, connectors. So we are quite unique in our value proposition and in what we offer to the customers, because we do not offer any minimum order quantities. We sell directly to the customers without having any middle distributors in the middle. So and we don't have any we don't go only for big customers. We can go for small customers as well as big customers. We are very technically competent. I mean, I myself am an M-Tech electronics, but mostly all of our sales guys are very, very technically competent, and we invest in them in making them more technically competent as well, so that we are not just we're not just cross selling. We are a design partner to all of our customers.
Yeah, that's a good point. And why Rob and the team also value a lot the technical expertise and how technical leadership can also become in business leadership. And that's why Rob also wanted me to have Glenn on the show. So Glenn, if you are listening, as we are waiting for you to join after Deepak. Thank you so much for the introduction and for giving us a little bit more context about the company and about the business within the group and the portfolio and the context and the size, etc., etc. So because it's important for everything that we'll be sharing along the podcast. So we always discuss 3 critical ingredients to scale in the show. Number 1, radical focus. Number 2, world-class leadership. And number 3, an execution operating system. As you know, this is just a narrative for the podcast, but we always double down on the topics and the stories and the experiences of our guests. So starting with the number 1, radical focus, your challenges when you joined Wurth Electronics India were quite big and quite ambitious. Could you give us just the kind of the overview of where you were when you joined in terms of the revenue, and where you are now and where you want to be, or where you want to be in 2025, right?
So yes, Mike. So obviously it was not an easy ride. It was not a walk in the park for me when I joined Wurth Electronics India, because they were already running for about 10 years. And 2005 was the first time, I think, when Rob came to India. In 2007 was the first employee who joined India. So there was already an established team, or already an established organization structure. So for me to come and adapt to India, come and join India was not very not as easily acceptable for them. I must also say that Indians are more emotionally driven than any other than anybody else. So for them to have an emotional change from their current leader to me was not an easy ride for them as well as for me. So I remember one of my first processes meeting when I was sitting there and trying to get everybody on the table, all the departments together, to just so that they can reflect on, and they can tell what is it, how is the other department can help them to achieve the vision together. There were a lot of people just walked out of the meeting room. They were banging on the tables, and that was probably one of my worst experiences. So I obviously had my failures and I had my mistakes. And as I said, it took me almost 3 years for them to accept me as their new leader. Wow. And that was a very very emotional moment for me, when one of my senior managers said, Deepak, if you want, we will do it. So I was like, oh, okay. That was actually, we were making 11 sales records in a row, and and I said, we should make 11 and then she said, if you want, we will do it. So definitely, when I joined in 2015, we were at about 2.6 million US dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And Rob, my boss, he asked me to get to a figure of 13 million US dollars by 2020. So I was like, are you sure? Is it possible?
Almost 10 million. Okay, let's see what I can do.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what I can do. So it was at that point of time, it was really looking very, very unrealistic, figures of how we will be able to achieve that. But I must also thank Rob. He gave us the right vision. He gave us the right strategy, and we can proudly say that we are on our way to achieve. I mean, obviously, like, we couldn't achieve it in 2020 because of everybody knows, because of the reasons.
Exactly.
So, but in 2021, we are on our way to achieve the mark of 13.4 million US dollars, which we are confident we will be able to achieve this year. So,
Congratulations.
saying that, we are about almost five times, to what we were in 2015.
Exactly.
So if we wipe off 2020, we can say we have achieved that in 5 years. So, well,
Exactly.
obviously,
The
we
dream
counting.
is now a reality, or
The dream is not a reality. It was like a fairy tale, as well. When I joined and we were saying, this is the figure which we want to achieve. We're like, what is he talking about?
and this is a good point, right? This is really leadership. Is not being naive. It's believing that it is possible to get there and making everything it takes to get there, and trusting that we have the team to get there, and creating that trust into the team, because we see the belief. If we see the fear and the resistance or the doubt of the leader, the one who is being led also feels the same kind of fear and lack of confidence. And the opposite also works, right? So if you feel that person really believes in me and believes that this is possible, it might be, and I might be better than what I think, right?
No, I completely agree with you. So getting the best out of the team, was, there was a lot of potential within the team India as well. So, when we were talking about getting to these figures, I know when I joined, we had 7 key customers, and we had to make the whole strategy of forming a new key account management structure, and now we can proudly say we are close to 40 key accounts in India, also in India only. So this was only possible by getting the right, I think first, obviously, is setting up the focus, or we can call it as a vision. Second, I think the second most important point is the employees should find it compelling enough for them to stay, and for them to achieve that as well. So making obviously regular meetings, and communicating, where we are
Exactly.
going, where we are at, where do we want to go, and making, and that something else which was very, very important was coaching. It was because as soon as I joined, we had the top management of the old regime, as I can say, who
Living,
who left
right?
us. Unfortunately, they did not continue with us, and so then it was a time, we had to get all the colleagues, who were there
Yep.
for us, serving for Wurth Electronics India for maybe 5-6 years. But then it gave them the opportunity to step up. So
Very interesting
and
point.
and so, but it was not just them, stepping them up, but we had to
Right.
step,
Now you
stepping their
kind
game up
of
as well.
did your team what Rob did with you, right? So
Yeah,
you
exactly.
you believe it that they were able to step up to that position, and that you invested in the team that was already there, instead of searching the ones who might be more experienced to come with more credentials to come to your team.
And yeah, 100%. And something, I mean, we talk about coaching them, but it was also about caring. I think this is something which
Mhm.
I learned a lot from Rob. I must admit that. Rob is really, really caring for all his employees, and
So
and
now everyone wants to watch the episode with Rob.
they must.
Sorry to interrupt your flow.
From our side as well, you take care of, I learned this from Rob. You take care of the employees, and the employees take care of the business. And I, from my side, I just pass it on. I believe in my people, and like Rob believes in his people. And you take care of them. You make sure they are looked after well. There's obviously, they need some support personally as well as professionally. So you're there to care for them. You're there to coach them. And transparency, something which, again, I learned from Rob. Communicating the right thing, and you know and transparency. Be open, be fair. Tell them what you want to achieve, tell them where you want to go, and together, we achieve. So, what looked like an impossible task in 2015 is looking very, very possible task already in 2021. And it's not only that. Now we are looking to, it's not that we are going to, focus on getting to 14 million. We are already looking at how we get to 40 million by 2025. So
Well,
that's the next vision which we want to achieve. And we are very confident that we will
and
be able to
and I
achieve that.
challenge you to put the 5x again. So it should be 50 instead of the 40, right? To repeat. Just an idea.
No, don't give any ideas to Rob.
No, I'm giving it to yourself. I will not talk with Rob. I promise.
Yeah.
Hope he's not able to listen this.
I hope so as well. But Rob knows, I from my side, I always, Rob knows me well. He knows me for the last 14 years. And it's always good to under deliver and under promise and over deliver.
Exactly.
So, so let us have that 50 million in our mind, and let us just show them, we are going to be achieving 40 million. And then,
Absolutely.
so if you over deliver, we are always good. So
Exactly.
Rob always says me, Deepak, you always have some buffer. Yeah.
And it is paying off, given the track record of your company within the group. It's really a benchmark, right, and a source of inspiration to all group, all that you guys have been achieving.
Yeah. I mean, there is no doubt, but we must also say the team effort as well, and obviously the team is there to support.
Exactly.
I mean, one of the things which we religiously follow, again, change is something which is not adapted very well within Indians as well. So now whoever joins, we show them the Kubler-Ross change curve, the 7-step change curve, so that change, they accept that, this is Wurth Electronics, and change is something, we are an agile organization, because the way we are developing, the way we are growing, we cannot be working on the same strategies for a long time. It's always reinventing, it's always readapting, it's always rethinking, and then working on how do we achieve the next targets, and how do we achieve the next vision, how do we achieve that. So we are very proud. Last month we actually achieved 1 million euro a month benchmark, and something I remember when I joined the organization, we were a quarter of a million, and I remember I cutting the cake when we achieved 500,000, and now I remember cutting the cake when we achieved 1 million euros a month. So it's good to see how
quite amazing
how India has developed, and I'm sure we are only scratching the surface. There's still a lot more potential within the employees and within the Indian market, which we can uncover, and this is how we will achieve our future growth and future prospects as well. And
I can see it.
Rob will be there to support us.
I assume that there was here an interesting transition, because you have been quite a long time in the UK, so coming to your home country in India, but being your first experience, professional experience working in India, we have been representing already companies in the UK. So it's kind of coming back to your own culture, but at the same time, it's facing a new business culture that didn't have the opportunity. You also chatted with me in our past conversations about that India is so multicultural, with so many states, so many languages, and you were also coming from the north. So could you explain a little bit more context on some of the challenges that we also faced in that transition, to not only to lead a team that was senior than you in paper at the time, and having them accepting you, but also the cultural shift and the cultural transition from the UK to India, and from the north to the south?
Sure. Mike, so one thing which I think a lot of people do not relate to is, India is a multicultural country. We have about 29 states and 7 union territories. So 36 different cultures or 36 different
Incredible.
states within India. It's very much like a mini Europe, to be honest.
Exactly.
Obviously not in terms of the
Even
language,
larger in population, right?
in population. Yeah, I mean the whole of Europe is roughly 44 countries and 770 million as the population. So if we say India, with 36 states and 1.4 billion, 1.3 billion population, so we're pretty much a mini Europe.
Exactly.
Population is almost twice, and the number of states are pretty similar to what there are in Europe. So
Incredible.
in India itself, we have 50 different languages which is spoken. So although I was born and brought up in India, I belong to North India. I come from a clan of Punjabis, who are known to be as warriors. So 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 we moving to UK and then coming back to India. For me, it was first job in India. This was the first time I was employed. I got my first national insurance card because I never had it. I never worked in India before. And coming to Bangalore was a different culture, different language, different food, different culture, come all together. It was
Incredible.
not. It was not, although I was coming back to India, but my mode of communication with my colleagues was always English because that was the common language which was spoken in India, throughout India, and that was a common language
Right.
which I could speak to them and I could relate to them. So it was quite
Right.
challenging, and I can say I'm still the only North Indian which is employed by the Bangalore team. So
Incredible.
which we still continue. Well, we've not hired anybody, not because I know I don't want. I would love to have another North Indian within the team, but still, in the Bangalore. But Bangalore, the people in Bangalore are very very they welcome you with open arms. They're very multicultural. They
Multicultural as
know,
well.
yeah, multicultural because Bangalore
It's kind of
is
a
an
tech
upcoming
hub as
another
well.
tech hub. Silicon Valley of India. So
Exactly.
so Bangalore, they work very very, they live very very collaboratively, and I
Absolutely.
love the food of Bangalore. So it
Love
was
it.
good. It was good for me to learn. I can
Yeah.
speak some local language as well now. So.
Got it. Got it. And kind of digging a little bit deeper into that point on, you needed kind of 3 years to conquer the team were kind of having some doubts and not respecting you so much on your new position. And how are you able, and for the ones who are listening who are going through the same situations that you face it, first, how do you trust in yourself on those moments of temptation when people are doubting you and maybe not cooperating with you? And second, how are you able to keep up and clean the team and raise up the team that was behind? So 3 years, it's a long time, and you need to have a very strong confidence in yourself to go through that, right?
So I mean, here I would say is, the same words which spells listen spells silent. So, and you you have 2 ears and one mouth, and
Love it.
that should be used in the same proportion as well. So my first 90 days, I mean, my first, I can say, I say 90 days, but it was more just listening and just observing and just seeing, without making any massive changes, it was a lot to absorb. I came from a sales background and all. I mean, I'm still a salesman, by heart, and I still love sales. I still love selling. But when I came to India, it was not just selling. It was about managing the operations, warehouse, finance,
Right.
internal sales team, the technical team, and obviously the sales team, which is the heart of any organization. So initially it was very very hard, but I observed, we made very very calculated. I think for me it was more of making collaborative decisions, which really helped because everybody felt involved,
Involved.
involved within. It was not like, we're going this
Command and
way.
control, right?
It was not like that. It was not like my way or highway. It was more of, let's go to the highway together. So
Right.
so so more collaborative decisions were taken. It was more of accompanying each other and working together. Everybody felt a part of the vision. Everybody, when we are very proud to have achieved 20 consecutive sales record, the whole of
Wow.
2017 and the whole the whole of, in 2017 we achieved 11 sales record, 2018 we achieved 12 out of 12, and 2019 we achieved 8, so we achieved 20 in a row. So
Wow.
that was that, and that does not happen by mistake. There's nothing called
Exactly.
accidental achievement. So
Exactly.
and every individual plays a part to it, and every individual plays a part not because because somebody wants to take them there, because everybody wants to go there.
Right.
Every every individual of the organization is finding it compelling enough, is every individual of the team is wants to get there together, which is the reason why we become successful, because it's a collaborative and teamwork. So this is something which we followed, and which has helped us to be successful and to be where we are today. And this is something which we will obviously continue to do,
Right.
and I'm sure we will be very, very successful together. So this really helped me, I can say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will jump into this topic, and this is just a curiosity, a parenthesis here. You talked about that we need to understand, of course, and this is part of the goal of this podcast, is very inclusive, very diverse in terms of nationality, in terms of cultures. And a lot of the leaders that are listening us are leading multicultural teams. So it is really, really important to understand where people are coming from, what are their realities, so we also can improve our leadership skills and be kind of local. And in that sense, you said that Indians can be very emotionally, but it's curious from a kind of my perspective. India is also the source of so much emotional intelligence, and also a source of inspiration about adaptability, flexibility. So for the ones who have this view that there is a lot to learn in terms of emotional intelligence, in terms of flexibility in India, why do you say that sometimes the Indian culture can be too emotionally, and you have faced it yourself on your role?
So English people, British has ruled us for about 300 years. So it took us 300 years to realize that we need to do something about that. So that will probably tell you that we are not Indians. We do not adapt to change that easily. We are happy with the way things
Got
are
it. It's
going,
my
and we
perception. Got it.
so we are happy the way things are going, and we continue. We want to continue with that. This no doubt. We are Indians are very we are very, very cultural people. We have a lot of gods, and we are very, very cultural people, and we believe a lot in karma. What goes around obviously comes around. So all these things makes a complete, no doubt, definitely makes a complete man. But emotionally, we are Indians are I don't know, maybe something to do with food, maybe something to do with us to do to have, we believe in God, we believe in karma.
Yeah.
So all those things, we are very much I think I can say maybe 70% of the Indians live in a joint family where they live with their parents.
Uh-huh.
We don't have any social security, because there's so
It's
many
very
people.
interesting.
There's so many people. Government cannot offer social security
Exactly.
to people. We are we do not have, because we don't have any social security, we have to always save money for rainy days. We like and obviously pass it on. So all those things just make us more emotional to with each other, more
Right.
emotional to the kids, to the family, to the parents, to the uncles, to the aunts. So we live in a society, and I know all my neighbors, and this
Exactly.
this is not the case with a lot of European countries, where they know
Exactly.
their neighbors. So
Or
all the
individualist.
yeah. So if you see that, as a community, Indians, which if we go to the roots, which is not soon seen. So all these things makes us more emotional as compared to how somebody in the Western country would be,
Right.
because staying with
I
parents,
got it. Also,
staying
that
with
social connection and
those that social connection. So if you have to say why are Indians emotional, we cannot, there's no definition to it, but we have to look at what happened 300 years ago or
yeah.
1,000 years ago.
But it at least challenged me my belief that Indians were kind of my benchmark in terms of flexibility and adaptability.
So I would say Indians are, I mean, in terms of definitely the religion which Indians follow, the Hinduism, they call it as, Hinduism is a way of life. It's not a religion. So there we are very, very flexible.
Right.
There's no restrictions as such. Do what you want to do. Go wherever you want to go. You can. You can. So there, I think because of that, Indians, because of the adaptability, as you are saying, because of the culture which we belong to, definitely we are. Indians can go into any part of the world and they can settle in there because they
Exactly.
are very, very adaptable. They're very, very cultural. There's no doubt about that. But that Indian is also, when he goes back to his home, he's very, very rooted to his culture.
Right.
All those Indians are very, very rooted to their cultures, and they like their food, they like their dresses, so
Exactly. No
yeah,
question about it.
yeah, so
That's one I
yes.
followed.
So that obviously definitely helps them, but
Right.
I would still say Indians are definitely more susceptible to change as compared to the people in the Western world, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Just say hi to my friends who are listening the podcast in India, and I have a lot of amazing friends across all the parts of the territory in the south and in the north as well. So great, Parentheses, and thank you for allowing me to talk a little bit about culture. That's a topic that the audience knows that I really love, that I would speak for hours. But we need to start concluding the show because the time is flying, as always, with amazing guests like you. So we have kind of covered the three main topics. I also wanted to ask you if I should have asked you that I didn't ask. And I know that you have an interesting concept, maybe the shift concept that you wanted to share with the audience to kind of wrap up.
Sure. So, the shift, for again, I'm not a trainer or anything, but I learn from YouTube. I'm always learning.
That's great.
You have to be a lifelong student.
We
So
too.
one of the, there are a couple of things, which I would like to say. First thing, I'll come to shift. First thing, which is, communication. Definitely, communication is the key, because when you are communicating, communication builds trust. And when the trust is built, trust builds commitment, and commitment gives teamwork, and teamwork gives results, which is what we follow, and which is what makes us successful. And
Love
when we
it.
talk about shift, shift, for us, stands for see how I fit tomorrow. So when you are talking about what your next venture is, when you talk about what your next vision is, it is not something which which is it is not something which is which is going to automatically come to you. You need to
Right.
make the right plans, you need to make right strategies to get into where you want to fit tomorrow. So if you have a 5-year plan, you have to start working towards it now, so that you are there. But when you are there, obviously first thing you have to do is you have to look at the next. Obviously you have to look at, you have to see what your next move is, or where you want to
Exactly.
fit in the next 5 years. But one thing which I again learned, and which I again want to would like to share is, your competence can get you there, but it's your character which keeps you there.
Love it.
So your competence can only help you to get there, but unless you have the right character, you will not be there for a long time. That is for sure. You
Could
will.
you repeat the quote? Because I think it's so profound that
So
if you don't
your
mind to repeat.
sure. So your competence can get you there,
Mhm.
but your character will keep you there.
Love it.
So you need the right character to
Indeed.
yeah, it's easy to get at the top, but it's not easy to remain at the top.
Exactly.
That's the most
I,
difficult point.
I love the character part. I also love the other quote, but I love more this one now with the character part, which is you need to pay the rent every single day, right? So if you stop paying the rent, you will get out of the stage where you get into. So it's not something that you just got there and it will be there forever. So you need to keep paying the rent and paying the discipline and even becoming better and better and better every single day, right?
If otherwise, because what is happening is, when these all these generation Z and generation, when I started my first leadership lessons, it was like, becoming good to, the 7 habits of highly successful people.
Exactly.
And
Stephen
you know
Covey.
and seven how to win, how to make friends and influence people. These were the
Dale Carnegie, absolutely.
Dale Carnegie, and these were the textbooks, which I learned when I was big. Now, believe it or not, when I have two daughters, two lovely daughters. I love them.
Congratulations.
So, so my younger daughter, she was when she was 7, in her class, she was learning 7 habits of being a good student, and I was like, what is this? I mean, this new generation, they are so tech savvy. You talk about, when I talk about, any quotes, or when I talk about any new, for example, I'm talking about the 7 curve, so the 7 change curve. I mean, these guys are, in their phone, and they've got their, oh, okay, this is what he's talking about. This is what he's talking about. So, you need to really, really upgrade yourself. You really need to, be on the top, otherwise you will not be able to do any value addition, and, you will lose your, they will say, okay, what's deeper, yeah, I mean, I can talk to him, but there's no value addition I can get from him. So, the biggest, this is, I feel, my biggest challenge. I mean, the average age of our company is 32. So we have, we can,
Impressive.
I say that a lot, and I'm not very, we have 4 employees in our company who were born in 1970s, and the rest of them were born in 1980s and 1990s. And I find the biggest challenge for me is to, to have the same energy level as what somebody who was born in 1990s would have. And not only energy level, but also have the same competence, and also, understand the tech savvy things, and give them the value addition, and, tell them something new which they have not heard before, because they have heard all these things before, and they're like, yeah, we did that when we were in, 7 habits of highly successful people. We did that when we were in kindergarten. What
next.
are you talking about?
What's next?
What's next? So this becomes the biggest challenge for me. This definitely is the biggest challenge, and that's why, as you said, you have to pay, you have to pay rent every day, and basically you're paying rent to yourself to upgrade yourself every single day.
Absolutely.
So that you can be, your competence can get you there, but your character will keep you there. It comes back to the same
repetition.
Absolutely. The same point again. So that's really, really challenging. But we do it well. I mean, I have Rob, who's my mentor, and who always keeps on developing and challenging us. Working for Rob is, I tell that to Rob as well. It's not the easiest thing, but he gets the best out of you, no doubt about that. He definitely gets the best, and we try to do the same with the employees.
Okay, so I need to be prepared when it started pushing me more. I see. Okay, great. Let's go for the final question. Really, just one sentence to wrap up, and we close the show. Which is, if you would have the opportunity to have a tea or a coffee with yourself 10 years ago when you joined Wurth, what advice would you offer to your younger self?
I mean, I think a lot of quotes which I've already said, with respect to, there's nothing as, accidental achievement, or, you do not get to the top by mistake. And, self-discipline, is the most important thing. If you don't have self-discipline, you will not get there. So, I mean, I'm very, without being too big-headed, I'm very happy with the way my career has developed in the last 10 years. So if I was having tea with myself 10 years ago, I don't think, I would have whatever advice I would have given to myself at that point of time to be where I am today. probably worked for me.
Exactly. So you would not give any advice because it was so good.
I think what I did, and find the right mentor, be self-disciplined.
Exactly.
Self-discipline.
That's a good one, an amazing one.
is a, self-discipline is the difference between temporary success and sustained success. So
Exactly.
from my side, that is very, very important. When you commit to yourself, when you promise to yourself, this is something which you have to do, you have to continue doing that. And you never burn any bridges. Learn. You be a lifelong student. Learn every day. Learn from your juniors. Learn from your seniors. Learn from wherever you can, so that you are improving every single day.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing. Deepak, thank you so much for making the time to be with us. It was really an amazing episode. I'm sure that the community will really enjoy this.
No issues. Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure, to be on your show, and it's a pleasure to meet you for the first time, actually, because I know we exchanged a lot of emails, but it was never an
Exactly.
opportunity. So thank you, Rob, for giving me this opportunity to express myself, to share my experiences, what I had, and I hope, I wish well to everybody who's listening to the podcast, and I really hope it brings success. Stay healthy, stay safe, look after yourself, look after your families, and all the best.
Thank
That's
you.
all. Yeah.
Thank you, Deepak, and to our community. As you see, we keep bringing you the best of the best to help you scale your business from 1 million to 1 trillion. This was Deepak Chadha, the managing director at Wurth Electronics India. Thank you for joining. Have a nice week and keep scaling.